Welcome to Golden Goal, and after another exciting weekend of Premier League action, we are here to review the show. We're here to review the Premier League action, and we are live, of course. So, as always, the usual things apply. Drop us what you think in the comments. You should have gotten a notification if you are subscribed. If you haven't, what are you doing? Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you will get notified when the live streams start. Simple as that. So yes, we will review the Premier League action at the moment. It's just myself, Hubert with you, and George. George, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Bit tired, but I'm getting there.
I'm a bit tired. You'll be going to football or something.
Yeah, I played goalball in a tournament on Saturday, and then I went to Bristol City away in the WSL and got home at like 12:30 this morning.
So basically, chilled weekend for you then.
Yeah,
Clearly. So yeah,
and
well, good win for Arsenal women. Good win there. A few good results, including a hammering for Everton by Manchester United. Quite a thriller between Chelsea and Brighton. Liverpool dropping points against West Ham. And of course, there was that 1-0 tight win for Manchester City against Leicester as well, with Chloe Kelly providing the one winning goal for Manchester City. But yes, we are here to talk a Premier League. Someone might also join us later in the show. Keep a lookout. It's a return. It's a return for someone we haven't seen in a while, possibly. Hopefully, he'll be able to join us. If not, you just have the lovely company of the two of us. So we will start with the first game, and that was Liverpool versus Everton, Merseyside derby. Saturday lunchtime. Awful weather everywhere, but the game still went ahead very much. And it was a lot tighter affair for the Merseyside derby, George, like you said on the FPL show. So yeah, quite a tight affair. Everton down to 10 men. Ashley Young sent off. What were your thoughts on the game?
yeah, I didn't, like I said on the FPL show, I didn't think that it was going to be there'd be a lot of goals in it. Yeah, I thought I didn't think Liverpool were playing that good, to be honest. But I don't think Everton matched up to it either. I don't like Ashley Young's red card don't help, obviously situations. Um, how Kanate is still on the pitch, I don't know. We'll come to refereeing decisions soon. Because seeing as what the breaking news is coming out, which it'll be mentioned in the Arsenal Chelsea game. Um, so and then Salah got his two goals. I didn't think Salah played that well. I think he was lucky to get those goals. Obviously he got a penalty towards the end, like about 15 minutes from the end, and then he got that tap in. Yeah, I think Liverpool probably just edged it, done what they had to do at the end of the day, didn't they?
Yeah, it has to be said pretty much. Pretty much like you said, Liverpool got the job done. A lot of people were expecting a thrashing. A lot of people were expecting lots of goals. I mean, yes, Everton still weren't great, and that red card didn't help. Two yellows for Ashley Young with Kanate. There was again a debate whether Jurgen Klopp will request a replay. God only knows. But at the end of the day, it's another refereeing decision which will be, I'm sure, debated by many people. But yeah, it was a 2-0 win for Liverpool. They march on. Everton, they're still quite inconsistent, but more on the bad side of inconsistent, I'd say. But in the end, not much really to say apart from, the result was what was expected, to be fair. Move on to the next game, and that is Manchester City against Brighton. It finished Manchester City 3, Brighton 1, I believe, with Haaland and Alvarez among the goal scorers for Manchester City. During that game, we did also get the sad news about the passing of the legend that is Sir Bobby Charlton. Have to say, there were rumours of crowds at the Man City game doing rude chants about Sir Bobby Charlton. You are a disgrace, quite frankly, if you have done that, if this is true. You should be ashamed of yourself. But, George, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think it was 2-1. Was
it 2-1? I
yeah,
thought it was 3. Oh, okay, 2-1 then.
I don't know. I thought it was 2-1. And it wasn't rumours. There's videos of Man City fans booing and singing Bobby Charlton was son. So, like you said, I think it just shows you're scum of the earth doing that sort of level. And I think that's why people don't like City. Like being honest with some of their fan base, yeah. But that could be another show. um, I I thought there'd be more goals in it, to be honest, because Brighton can't defend, City can't defend, and we know both attacking teams can attack. Um, I know Haaland got his goal, but I don't know, maybe it's me. I'm not been that impressed the last 3 weeks for Haaland. I think I'm not saying he's been found out or nothing. Obviously, he's a world class striker, but he's not. A lot of teams have maybe they're working out that if you dry up the amount of times that a City get the ball towards Haaland, then you can frustrate him and he doesn't create as much. I do think Man City's player to watch at the minute has been Alvarez. Like he got another goal. So yeah, I know there's a lot of talk of FPL wise people considering selling Haaland. So that's something to keep an eye on. And with Brighton, I think now their fixtures switch, don't they? Like they've got a few decent fixtures coming up. So hopefully for them guys, they can go on a bit of a run, get some momentum. Yeah, like we said on the FL show, both teams would score. We both know defensively, City ain't keeping anyone out at the minute, and Brighton aren't defensively that great. So, um, yeah, I think obviously we all expected City to win. I'm trying to think who scored for Brighton. I can't think who it was, but um, they've got a couple of injuries coming up though as well, and I think like with European football, I just think they haven't got the squad at the minute to compete on all like high levels on all four grounds. So I suppose and De Zerbi's admitted that. So bit of time maybe they'll relax into it. But yeah, City get back to winning ways. Then they move on to the Manchester derby.
It's an interesting point about selling Haaland. I mean, he still scored. Yeah, okay, he doesn't score 3 goals every game, but
I
um,
think you have to balance it out with like obviously we will talk about this. This is going to be a topic on the show on Thursday, but very quickly, like Haaland scoring, but the amount of money Haaland costs, could you be better bringing two players in for that same price that get you probably 5 or 6 more points total? But the risk what you have with that is Haaland can always in any game go and get you 2 or 3 goals. But so for example, if you sold Haaland, you could bring someone like Darwin Núñez and Matoma in, and then when they're playing, they could go and get 7 or 8 points each. And then if Haaland gets you a goal and you're not captaining him and he only gets you 7 or 8, do you get what I mean? It's an interesting way to look at it and debate.
yeah, it's definitely quite an interesting one because I considered whether to captain Haaland against Brighton because lots of people saying it would be hatful of goals, but
I made the mistake of doing that, but I can't really say much because I did get 89 points. So
well, not too bad. We'll definitely talk about that on the FPL show as to who saved your team that much and got you that many points. That'd be quite interesting. Um, when it comes to Brighton, do you think it's Brighton's finances that prevented them from having that sort of a better squad for multiple competitions, or do you think Brighton just have not invested as well as they could have in the transfer window in the summer?
I don't think it's finances because they've got plenty of money, ain't they? Like you think of the amount of money they've made through player sales. Like I was talking to someone about this last week. Funnily enough, like you think what was it about 100 million or something for Casado? Um, Then they had the 50 million for Ben White. And other players that have gone like say like Trossard. I'm trying to think. There's someone else I forgot, but Sanchez. That's it. Like you think that them players I've just mentioned gets you near on 300 million, so they have got the money. I just don't know if they've invested right. And not even invested right. They've not clicked yet because obviously bringing Ansu Fati in, Joel Pedro, these are decent players. So yeah, I think De Serbi just needs to know his best team, and I honestly do think they really miss Levi Colwell. I don't think he's been that bad. I think he's been pretty good for Chelsea, to be honest. Like so, Brighton are really missing him, and then obviously having a Stupinian and Tarek Lamptey out injured. So and then Solly March is injured now. So they just need to pack their squad out a bit, but with quality, not just people that are going to come along for the ride.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. I think it's one of these things where I think a lot of teams that have been to Europe for the first time learn the hard way, learn very much the hard way as to what it's really like to compete on multiple fronts. But hold on a second, as we are about to have a guest.
Oh, I thought you meant Fulham scored then.
No, not yet. No, something bigger than that. Something more important, mate. Come on. We have a return. Eventually.
I'm here.
Ah, yes. He's back. He's where the eye is. It's Mr. Sam Wilson.
How are you both doing? It's good to be back.
It's good to have you back.
Hey, Sab.
Hey, George. How you doing?
Right, mate. It's the second podcast I've done with you, isn't it? And done one
is.
with Liam's last week.
I can't get enough of you. There we go. Well, welcome back, Sam. I've not had you for a good few months, but you're back on the channel. We are live. Please don't swear.
I'm not good at that one. I've got many different alternatives now that I can use instead. It's wonderful. It's extended my vocabulary being on YouTube.
That's good. That's good. Well, you get to show it off. We were just talking about Man City, Brighton, so we've both kind of discussed Manchester City, Brighton, Haaland.
Oh, yeah. We obviously I went to the game, didn't I?
Yeah, you've been to the game, so it'd be good to hear from you as to what you thought of the game from a perspective of someone who was actually there live. So give us your thoughts.
It did feel like I was doing something really wrong throughout the whole of the 90 minutes and going near the ground. It was quite regardless of the team that plays there, it was quite a nice ground. It had kind of an old school sort of feel to it, as well as it being quite modern, which I quite liked. We parked on a field that cost £10, which you couldn't get a drink in the Emirates for £10. So it was good. And then next to that was like a pub where everyone was stood outside, and it reminded me of like a sort of a Championship League One, League Two side. But clearly they're not that. But yeah, in terms of the game, not what I expected at all, really. Doku was absolutely unbelievable. He's only 21, so it's quite scary, his ability. Yes, he was up against James Milner, so he didn't really have the hardest of tasks. But he was really, really stand out. Gvardiol really impressed me because of his ability coming forward. John Stones was literally playing as a striker. It was that comfortable for them in the first half. It should have been a lot more than 2. Brighton didn't get anywhere near really, apart from the first sort of 5-10 minutes. Second half, it was a little bit more of a game. Brighton put a little bit of effort in. Didn't really deserve to score, to be honest. But even after they scored, it was still really comfortable. I actually left before Akanji got sent off, so I didn't see that. But yeah, it was fairly comfortable. It should have been a lot more than 2-1. Didn't really kind of reflect the game as a whole.
They didn't really give Haaland much, though, did they? Like I know he scored, but
yeah, no,
that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, he didn't really do a great deal, to be honest. I think that was his only real shot, to be honest. Um, but again, it's a sign of a good striker, isn't it? When he can do nothing all game and still score on that. Like, it was brilliant, to be fair. The goal was fantastic. And I'm pretty sure he's not human. I think he's a robot. I've come to that conclusion.
Yeah, Saliba let him out his pocket. That was why.
Interesting conclusions there. Right then, we will move on. By the way, we are live. You can comment on your thoughts. Put your comments in the chat if you're watching it on demand too. Also, drop comments. What you think? Anything you'd like to see the channel cover, or just in general what you think, would be nice to know. We move on to the next game, and London once again went head to head. This was Chelsea versus Arsenal. Chelsea went 2-0 in front. Thanks to who scored for us? Mudryk, I think, scored. Did he score?
Yeah, Mudryk and Palmer.
Mudryk and Cole Palmer with a
The
penalty.
biggest fluke you'll ever find.
Oh, it's a fluke, it's a goal, it doesn't matter. And then Arsenal, though, clawed their way back and almost snatched the win. So it was quite an exciting game. Both teams certainly very much went for it. It was a very exciting game. Very exciting 2-2 draw, I'd say. I watched the game, and from a Chelsea fan's point of view, I will say this, that before the game I said I'll take a draw, so technically the result, I'm still technically happy with the result, but what I will say is that it would have been nice when we were 2-0 up to actually keep hold of that win, even if it was a 2-1. That would have been nice, but also, Arsenal kept fighting. They are resilient, and at the moment, miles ahead of us. So to be able to pick up a point against Arsenal, I think, is quite a good result, despite dropping a 2-0 lead, which would have given us a very much unexpected 3 points. So that's pretty much the way I see it, though. Let's go to George. George, what did you think?
So I watched the highlights again this morning to try and get a bit of a better perspective. I thought we was absolutely atrocious first half. Probably the worst I've ever seen Arsenal play this season. I thought David Raya had a bit of a nightmare for me. Won't be surprised if Rambo comes back in now. I think the lineup was kind of answered itself. The only one I wasn't so sure about was Jorginho, but maybe Partey was being held back for the Sevilla game. And then, yeah, Mudryk done shank it like Beckham, didn't he? And got his goal. It don't really matter whether it's lucky or meant or anything. It's just a goal, isn't it? So, yeah. Then, obviously Chelsea got the penalty. Do I think it's a penalty by law? Yes. Do I think it should have been given? No. I don't understand the handball rule anymore. Unless players are meant to chop off their arms, I don't understand this unnatural position
I don't think
rubbish.
anyone understands the handball rule these days, to be honest. The phrase, what he's supposed to do with his arms, is often repeated.
I think it says it all when you have a Chelsea legend and John Terry say that he'd be fuming if he was Saliba. Like, to have a penalty given against him for that. I think that says it all. But we know what the penalty rule, we know what the handball rules are like at the minute. So, yeah, I felt a bit sorry for Saliba. And then we just didn't look. We just didn't look at the races, and then we got the goal back. Rice, thanks to Sanchez's mistake. I was happy Declan scored. It's a difference with Arsenal. I don't know if Sam might agree, but like last season, we didn't have that person who would drag us like a Vieira-esque person back into a game, and now we have with Declan Rice. I don't know if that's too much praise too early, but I don't see us having a midfielder in that sort of position who's done that since Vieira. And then obviously Trossard got the goal right at in the last few minutes. I was happy for him. And yeah, we could have won it in Nketiah, as usual. But the penalty is what's done me. Like how that's not a penalty on Jesus from Sanchez is beyond me. Like he's completely took him out, and now it's coming out now that we get ready for this, Sam. You're gonna really like this. Arsenal Football Club are expected to get an apology because it
Oh,
should have been given.
wonderful.
So add that to the
Means
list.
the doesn't change the fact that it wasn't given, is it?
I was
Or
going to
not
say the
even-
most pointless apology ever any club could receive,
Yeah.
an apology afterwards.
the thing that pissed me off about that.
There you go.
Was that I don't think it even was looked at by VAR because they didn't even stop the game. We saw the replay, but I don't actually know whether it was even looked at, which is just bizarre. Because I think if we're not looking at things like that, then what's it there for?
I just think the apologies are pointless. Like
It's too late when it's done, isn't it?
Like
Yeah,
when Jurgen Klopp said again after the Spurs Liverpool game, what's the point of an apology? The result still stands. The consequence of the result is still there.
like I always say, if Arsenal go and lose the title now by 2 points, or Liverpool miss out on the title or Champions League by a point or 2 points, or I won't just use it for the big teams, say Luton, for example, they have a VAR decision that goes against them that costs them points and then they go down on that.
It can
It
happen to anybody.
don't matter about the apology, does it?
What-
Like, I know-
You apologise again when it's been done as well at the end of the season when you've lost
and
out.
I'm not one of these Arsenal fans that just blame the officials all the time and VAR. I'm not. But
But when they make an obvious error,
when they make an obvious error like that Sanchez one on Jesus, for me, I it's beyond me. But yeah, we could talk about that for days and days, and it's not going to change the fact. I just I feel like we say this every show. Like it's the officials. Like we've got the best league in the world. People keep telling me, but for me, we've got the worst officials in the world. And then the VAR. So I don't know if VAR was looked at or if it was, but even if it was looked at, for their sake, and to help them out, they better hope it wasn't looked at. Because if it was looked at and that decision was still not given, that's even worse. That's up there with like a Liverpool
well,
decision.
they'll be once again demanding audio from the game. But to me, it's a case of the one thing VAR has introduced in football, and it's not what it's supposed to, is the fact that every week there's at least 2 VAR decisions that are discussed per game day, and I really think it just doesn't. It's just not the way to go about it.
Saturdays was obviously the Jesus penalty and I forgot his name, Liverpool defender, who should have been like I don't know why that weren't
Canate?
Canate, yeah. So I don't know, yeah, and we could have won it. If we won it, to be honest, probably that would have been a robbery. Like we shouldn't have won that. But I will say, in the last 10 minutes, Chelsea looked tired, and it was only Arsenal that were going to score. But I think people need to, like I was saying before the game, Chelsea won't be easy. Because I think they're doing all right under Pochettino. I think they've been a bit unlucky in a couple of the games. So I think progress is I think they're still miles apart, obviously. I think Chelsea, like if they get Conference League or Europa League, they've done well still, but it's still.
I'll just read you a comment that very much sympathises here. Liam Archer has joined us on the stream. Evening, Liam, mate. Liam Archer, England's blind football star. There we go. We've got famouses watching. Liam says referees are inconsistent across the football pyramid pretty much. And yeah, you have to say you get that all the time. I think the bigger reason it causes problems in the Premier League is the whole point that they've introduced this technology to solve this exact problem, which it never mind it didn't solve, it intensified. So, yep, I think...
It makes you think like it's corruption.
Everyone else is thinking.
It makes you think there's corruption going on as well. And I'm not saying there is, but some of these decisions are that bad that you would think there is.
For me,
Like,
I think it's a simple thing that they've implemented this brilliant technology that no one has figured out how to use properly, and they kind of went, we don't really know how to use it, but we'll implement it, and that's the problem. Because in other countries, yes, there are controversial referee VAR decisions, but it still seems like they can use it better than they can in this country.
yeah, I agree. But yeah, obviously being 2-0 down, I would take the 2-2. That's a game we'd probably lose. One thing I have noticed, we seem to really struggle playing in horrific weather conditions. But like the weather was horrific against Chelsea. I'm not doing a Klopp or saying we drew because of the rain, but we don't seem to play our free flowing football like when it's like them conditions, like Southampton last season, Brighton season before, now Chelsea. So, yeah, I'd just got to put it behind us, bounce back. We've got Sevilla, a massive game tomorrow. Then we've got Sheffield United on Saturday. Hoping we can win that. I think like teams are going to drop points this season. Do you know what I mean? So like we've seen City already. Like I know they beat Brighton, but they got Man United next weekend, and I know we all banter United, but this is when Man United are their most dangerous. When everyone writes them off, especially in a Manchester derby. So like, I would like I've said I wouldn't. If you said to me, could I see United getting something? Yeah, I can. I'm not saying they will, but I can see it. You just don't know with United. And then like Tottenham are on the high at the minute. Obviously, they're playing tonight.
Yep, and it's currently still 0-0.
But I will say this again. I'd like to see how Tottenham play when they actually play one of the top teams that are in form. Okay, they played Arsenal. And I'll say it, Sam, I don't know if you agree. I think we've been awful this season. I don't think we've actually been that good. I think we've played 2 good games.
I don't think you've been awful. I think you've been
I
slightly
don't think
under
we've been
par,
great.
but
I
Yeah,
don't particularly think we've been amazing. No, I've not been blown away by. I've been blown away by individual performances from Declan Rice, from Saka, Saliba in some games, Ødegaard, Martinelli, but we haven't been amazing. I'd say probably in terms of how we played in accordance last season, we probably looked better last season.
I'd say we're 3 out of 10 this season.
The only thing that's massively changed is Declan Rice is better than all of us, even 40 was. But that's really the only thing. It's just frustrating because, yes, Kai Havertz helped us to beat Man City, but that 60 million really needed to be spent on a striker because that's what we are behind City now, a striker.
Yeah.
The rest of the squad, we're almost there because we've got people to bring on. It's just that striker. And that 60 million is a good chunk towards an Oshinhen or someone like that, which would have been much better because we don't particularly need any more midfielders. We've got so many of them. I don't know if Havertz really brings anything to us. I could kind of take it or leave it as if he's in our squad at all.
So if you said to me Arsenal went and bought Kai Havertz and he'd become a replacement for Eddie Nketiah, playing as that false number 9 as a different option, I'd snap your hand off. But if you're saying to me Kai Havertz has been brought in to replace playing that Granit Xhaka role, I don't think that works personally. That's just me. And I'm a fan of Kai Havertz, as people know. But I agree with Sam. Like we need a striker. Like Jesus can do all this stuff.
Who do you want in January?
See, it all depends. If Ollie Watkins don't sign a new deal, I'd put a cheeky bid in for him. But
Do you really think he won't stay at Villa?
well, if Arsenal come knocking,
he's not going to stay at Villa.
Like
Villa's, they're a good team to be at the minute, I think. But you can't tell me he's going to turn down the chance to play at a club that's in the Championship.
If a Champions League team come knocking, I don't know. I don't think he'd I think he'd at least highly consider staying, going to that Champions
I
League.
think in the summer he would. I'm not sure if he would in January because I wonder if he'd want to see what Villa can achieve and where they
It
can.
all depends. All depends who comes knocking. If you've got a team who are in the Champions League going for the title, it's a good way. It's a good way. I'm not saying I don't think Watkins will. I think he'll sign a new deal, but it's an interesting one because I know a lot of people are saying Tony, and I think Tony he scores goals. We know that, but do you hold back in January, bring a right winger in to help Saka, and then play Jesus or Trossard through the middle until the summer and see out what you do, and then spend a big chunk of money on a striker in the summer? Like if Osimhen is available, like all these people saying Arsenal don't have that budget. Smoking.
You've shown you've got that budget. Sam, who do you want? Who would you like to? What if Arsenal could sign a striker? Who would you want?
I would rather Watkins. If it was between Watkins and Tony, I think it would be Watkins for me. I think he poses more of a threat in other areas of the pitch. I think Tony's quite a good footballer. I wouldn't write off signing either of them, but he's more sort of a player that can kind of be in and around the box and score your goals when the ball's crossed into him or when he's fed. Ollie Watkins seems to do it more on his own as well, show brilliance in other places in the pitch. So if we were going to go Premier League, Ollie Watkins. The other ones that stand out for me, really, because I don't think there is actually many strikers in world football that are readily available that...
If he hadn't have just left to go PSG, I would have took Don Carlo Ramos in a heartbeat.
Yeah, the other one
Consider Victor
I would
Osimhen.
say is I know we've been in link with him before, is Martinez from Inter Milan.
Yeah, that's a dream. That'd be a dream signing for me.
So that would be Osimhen or him is sort of the ones from world football that you'd look at, because I don't actually think there's many other names.
Yeah, the other one I've just thought of who I would take if he was available is Vlahovic. From Juventus.
Yeah, I think he's been unfortunate. I think in his time at Juventus, I know we looked at him before.
I think there's players out there.
My thoughts on the game. I don't think I've seen us play that bad in a couple of years. Actually, I would go past
in a couple of years. Jesus.
Yeah. Apart from the sort of when we were down the bottom of the league a couple of years ago, I don't think I've seen us play that bad. It was just nothing to us. It was, shocking. I have never seen anything quite like it, to be fair. To say that we'd spent money on Declan Rice and Havertz, it was just shocking. The defence was all over the place when Chelsea were attacking. Our defence were at the halfway line for some bizarre reason. It was just shocking. Chelsea deserved to be 2-0 up. I'd probably say if it wasn't for our moments of just brilliance and both of the goals, I can't even go as far as say that we deserved to get the draw, to be honest, because we were shocked. I think we were very, very fortunate. It was a massive get out of jail card to get to the 2-2. But yeah, the penalty, I agree. I just don't know, because if you jump up in the air trying to defend the ball and you've got your arms by your side, you go in, there's only one place you go in, and that's face planting the floor. So yeah, I just don't know, because in the game after that, because I did end up watching the Man United game after that for my sins, that was abysmal, shocking game of football.
I'll to that in a second.
But they had the handball as well from McTominay, and his arm was slightly out by his side, and he got the handball. The commentator actually said, I think that was more of a handball than the Saliba penalty. So yeah, it's just disappointing, isn't it? Because like George said with the goal as well, something doesn't add up. Something doesn't, I think it goes beyond bad referees. It's like each week and each game week, there's a completely new set of rules. It's almost like that.
I like they're trying to outdo each other.
Yeah,
If it's worse.
it's just disappointing, isn't it? Because it's been brought in to make it better, but it's actually making it more frustrating. And
One thing I will say with the officials, I don't like now it's got really bad with the decisions, but I think they've lost all confidence in what they're doing.
Mhm.
So I think having and I know we said this on Liam's show last week, or the week before, because there's no self belief or confidence. They're basically crapping themselves every time a decision gets made, and you know what it's like
When you
when
listen
you have
to the
no
audio, when you listen to that audio from the referees, you can tell, you can listen to their voices and the shakiness in their voice that basically a whole galaxy's on their shoulders if they make that decision wrong, and they damn know about it, and they can't cope with it.
I mentioned this on the show the other day, actually on Liam's show, and I do actually think if there's something that majorly goes wrong in the game, that the referee should actually have an interview, or the referees and the VAR assistant, because the referee can after the game, because the referee could say what he saw on the pitch, and then the VAR official could tell you what they saw different to what the referee saw on the pitch as to whether they give it or they didn't, and then they could come out in the end, and that would be better. I think it's still not great, but that would be better than a week later going, "Oh, actually, we did mess up. Sorry about that."
What I
No,
will say, I think is needed instead is that audio feed where it shouldn't be the case that clubs have to formally request the audio and be able to hear what's been said. That audio should be streamed live through commentaries, TV commentary and radio commentary should both get it. You get it in other sports. The fact that you don't have it in football is ridiculous when I think that would help a lot, because then at least what would happen is you'd hear the conversations there and there and the referees would know about it. So I think that would also make them aware that what they are talking about is being heard by people. They need to be mindful of that fact, and also have it played out on the screens in the stadium visually for the fans, I think would be great. And I think that would make VAR a lot better solution. And we keep saying this every season, and at no point has this been considered to be implemented.
I think
So-
they know. I think they
1-0.
know that they're messing up that much that they can't afford to do that, because that would make them look
Just
silly.
to interrupt you and repeat to what George says, Tottenham are 1-0 up against Fulham.
I say that it was a good goal, actually. As much as it pains me to say it, he was at the edge of the box, and he
Who
just
assisted? I'll check the assist for us in a minute.
with Charlison, I believe.
Yeah.
My God, he's done something. Oof.
Whoever number 9 is, to be fair, I don't.
Yeah, for Charlison.
So yeah, he just passed it through, and then Son's at the edge of the box, and just curls it around the goalkeeper into the corner.
I'll be honest, I think Fulham have been poor this season and all. Like, I know they've lost Mitrovic, but he shouldn't have that much of an effect. Like, I don't think they've been. They started really well last season.
That was Fulham's main. To be honest, you could see how much impact Mitrovic had on Fulham, because as soon as Mitrovic's suspension began after his antics at the FA Cup, Fulham just fell off a cliff. So you could see how much of an impact as having only one decent striker has on a club like Fulham.
Mhm.
Well, we'll move on to the next game, because we could be debating all of this for ages and probably will be show after show. Moving on to Sheffield United versus Manchester United. It was at Bramall Lane, 8 o'clock kickoff. Manchester United took the lead through Scott McTominay, who Man United fans say they're finally realising he can be a striker. Then he went from hero to zero and gave away a penalty, which was scored by Sheffield United, which took it to 1-1. And in the dying minutes of the game, Darlow scored the winner. So, yes, there we go. Apparently, Darlow can be a striker too. George, what are your thoughts on the game?
I think United done what they had to do. They're just getting by every single time. I wouldn't be that confident as a United fan. I definitely wouldn't say they're cooking, like it was mentioned.
Who said that?
Abdi
Back
said,
wins, United are back, is it? Oh dear.
Abdi said they were cooking, but I think he might have been being a bit sarcastic. Well, I'd like to hope he was.
No, Abdi's more the sensible United fan, so I'm hoping,
But a win's a win, isn't it? Like, they've managed to get a couple now. it's once again, I just don't think it's clicking for them either. Like last season, we had teams who were like blitzing people apart. The only one doing that at the minute is Villa and Spurs. Oh, I wouldn't say they're blitzing teams; they're doing enough. But Villa look the most like free flowing team at the minute. But yeah, with United, obviously they've got a big game in the week, haven't they? I'm not actually sure who they've got, but I don't know.
They are playing FC Copenhagen at Old Trafford.
So to keep their Champions League journey going, they need to win that really. And then they've got City at home, so it's a big, massive week again for Man United.
Sam, oh yeah, go on.
So and I'd say with Sheffield United, I think they're going straight back down. They just don't have enough for me. Like I know they've got Cameron Archer, but he don't get no service.
Sam, one thing we've spoken about this a little bit before, in September after our little break, when it comes to the Jadon Sancho saga, you know, let's get your views on that because you've not had a chance to talk about this on the show. What do you think about that?
I just think it's not very good, is it, to treat anyone like that, regardless of who they are. There's a difference between you're not playing well to you're not anything in part of your plans. Obviously, we don't know what's happened behind what we can see. But yeah, it's not right, is it? Especially not when you're paying that high of a wage to someone as well in terms of United. But yeah, it's not a way to treat someone, is it? Yes, he hasn't been very good since he started. Yes, he hasn't kind of met expectations that United fans expect. But yeah, it's just not right. I
think Sancho has not been good in general. We've mentioned this point on the show where, you know, people thought Sancho was amazing, but what everyone's forgotten is where he was playing at the time, what division he was playing, and what players he had around him at Dortmund, and the difference that there is in the Premier League and the players he had around him at Manchester United.
Yeah, it's just bizarre as well from a United sense of things, because if they want to get rid of him by not playing him, other teams they're not going to give teams any confidence to kind of sign him. So I think they're digging themselves kind of a hole as well at the same time.
I think that Jadon Sancho is digging himself a hole by behaving the way like this. Even if he wanted to leave United, do you think he's digging himself a hole by acting like this instead of just doing what he can until the next available opportunity to leave, which would be the January transfer window? But yeah, he's sabotaging his own transfer possibility.
I think it's just a complete mess, isn't it? Whichever way you look at it, it's just a mess. You could sit and talk about all day how there's bad points on both sides, but yeah, it's just not good for either party, is it? So yeah, it's just bizarre. It's a bizarre one. It really is.
Well, we'll be following that certainly as things don't seem to be developing too much. But yes, as I said, we are still live. So if you want to put in any comments, you can. What do you think of the Sancho situation? Feel free to put them, even if you're not watching live, because we might look at them and mention some in our next show.
Another thing as well, I was speaking to, because I was actually watching the game with a Man United fan as well. And I said to them, how have you got to a point? Yes, I know they've got some injuries, but how have you got to a point as Man United with a new manager looking for fresh ideas and be ending up with Maguire and Johnny Evans as your two centre-backs? It's just not like good, is it, for them? Maguire, yes, had a great game. I feel a bit sorry for all the stick he gets, because I don't think he's actually ever deserved it. But I don't think he's Man United standard, when Johnny Evans certainly isn't Man United standard. So yeah, that's again another weird one. But yeah, it was a terrible game of football. 90 minutes seemed like 3 games of football. It was so bizarre. But yeah, I think the less said about that game, the better, because it was probably one of the worst ones of the game week, really.
Okay, well, let's move on to the game that certainly was quite a thriller at Villa Park. Thriller at the Villa. It finished Villa 4, West Ham 1. And it was quite a game. Villa very much delivering on all fronts. Ollie Watkins being fantastic in the game, as much as Villa in general under Unai Emery, pretty much a year in charge now, and he's turned Villa into a very different club. West Ham, I mean, it was 4 goals, but they I guess can't be too disappointed with the season overall at the moment. George, what are your thoughts?
Just quickly before you start on that, I'm going to shoot off now because these are the games that I didn't see anything about. So it's been
Sam. Pleasure to have you.
Too.
Oh, hopefully we'll have you back soon, mate. Cheers for coming on, Sam. We very much appreciate it, and cheers for your input.
See you later.
See you, Sam. So, George, let's come to your thoughts on Villa West Ham.
Yeah, I thought Villa played well. It ended up being quite a good evening for Villa.
Very good.
Yeah, obviously they're clicking in all the right places, aren't they? Like Douglas Luiz is doing really well. Like I think he's got like 4 or 5 goals now this season. So you can see why some of the other top teams are after him. Ollie Watkins is just being Ollie Watkins, isn't he? Like I heard someone say today he's quite unlucky, Ollie Watkins, as well. That Harry Kane's who he is. Because if Harry Kane weren't there, I think Ollie Watkins would be England's number 9.
A lot of people have been comparing Ollie Watkins to Harry Kane, especially the way he scores certain goals. That's what I've heard during the commentary.
So yeah, but yeah, he's doing really well, Ollie Watkins. I'm really happy for him. Yeah, with West Ham, I think lucky it was only 4. Like, could have been a few more.
Well, 6-1.
Yeah, right. So, but West Ham have got some good players as well. Their fixtures have changed now, so they'll get a bit of confidence as well. I think Bowen's goal was quite weird.
Because of the 3 deflections it took.
Yeah, just like it was like a pinball goal, really. But
quite funny.
I was happy because he's in my fantasy team. So
yeah, I had Ward-Prowse and Diarra in that, and Matty Cash in that game as well. So yeah, not great performance.
I had Bowen, Cash, Diarra, and Watkins. So they're obviously playing quite well, Villa. So they've got Luton coming up. So Ollie Watkins could be looking there.
Yeah, I think fantasy football managers, if you haven't yet, you might want to bring Ollie Watkins, although really probably most people should.
Yeah, they're doing well, Villa, so fair play to them. I don't mind Villa, to be fair.
Knocking on the door of that Champions League spots. Obviously, it's way too early to say any of this, but you never know. Never know where they could end up. But yes, that is very much the show. It's still Tottenham 1, Fulham 0, as we will head off and leave you to watch the rest of the spectacle. And we will be back not too long away. We are back on Thursday at a later time of 9:45 for the live FPL show, with George and Matt back in the hot seat discussing the next FPL game week and reviewing maybe what happened as well with their teams in the previous game week. So if you can watch live and have a bit of a late night, that's fine. If you can't, we are more than welcome to watch afterwards. Thank you to everyone who's watched the first episode. We appreciate your support as always. If you've got any comments, any features, or if you in fact would like to contribute to the channel yourself and be a guest on any of our shows, then just drop a message at Golden Goal TV on the X machine. You can join the Facebook group, or drop us a message. We are more than keen to have more contributors. So if you want to, that would be great. So we'll be back with you on Thursday. So yes, you can also find us individually on social media. George, where can you be found?
You can find me on X at George AWFC.
And you can find go on.
No, I'm saying, yeah, basically that's there. So
And you can find me on at Hubert3001. That is HUBERT3001. And yeah, Golden Goal TV at Golden Goal TV on X, Facebook group, WhatsApp group. If you're interested, drop us a message. As long as you're civilized and not a weirdo and a creep, we will gladly have you. And of course, like this video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe, share, tell your friends, and don't forget to click that bell icon to receive notifications, because the only time you will know when our stream starts is when you are subscribed and turned on notifications. So do it now, and we will see you on Thursday.